At the end of 2017, when Colombian security agencies, the DEA, and the FBI believed they had signs to presume that El Chapo's son was in Medellin and was carrying out illegal activities, he disappeared, which ruined the investigation that was developed in which the U.S. agencies participated. Jesús Alfredo Guzmán Salazar is a Mexican drug trafficker, mobster, and controversial personality from Zapopan. Was born on February 3, 1983. He is best known as one of the sons of the infamous Joaquín Guzmán Loera, also known as El Chapo, a notorious drug trafficker and former leader of the Sinaloa Cartel, now in jail. His mother is Alejandrina Maria Salazar Hernandez, who was the first wife of El Chapo. She is currently living a low-profile life. From the moment Guzman was arrested in 2016 after a firefight with Mexican commandos, his sons were destined to assume the throne of the Sinaloa Cartel. Even though their father is believed to have dozens of children, 4 were groomed early to take over in his expected absence. Now, with El Chapo doing life at the Supermax prison in Colorado, they are in charge. Sons of El Chapo, Joaquín Guzmán López, Ovidio Guzmán López, Ivan Archivaldo Guzmán Salazar, and Jesús Alfredo Guzmán Salazar are in demand by American authorities. Jesús Alfredo Guzmán Salazar, known as Alfredillo, is believed to be the most influential one among all brothers. He is now under indictment in Chicago, charged with trafficking and conspiracy. In 2008, Flores twins, who worked for the Sinaloa Cartel in the United States, decided to cooperate with the authorities and gave them information that had come from Jesús Alfredo, and made the arrest of El Chapo possible in later years. In 2012, Mexican troops have said they have arrested the son of the country's most wanted drug suspect, Joaquín El Chapo Guzman. They said Jesús Alfredo Guzmán Salazar was arrested with another person in central Jalisco state in an operation by Marines in the city of Zapopan. That arrest made a mockery of the Mexican system, as the guy arrested was not Jesús Alfredo. The Mexican Attorney General's office issued a brief statement in which it stated that it was attempting to determine the man's genuine identity, but also noted that the first details on his location and identity had been provided by American agencies. Under the condition of anonymity, U.S. law enforcement authorities said there was confusion over who was at the home the Mexicans searched and that it appeared it was not Chapo's son. The man who Mexican Marines kidnapped and paraded in front of cameras identified as a smuggling kingpin, and the son of Sinaloa drug lord Joaquín El Chapo Guzman may not be his son at all, which would be more of a humiliation than a victory for the Mexican government and its partners in U.S. law enforcement. The young man arrested in a dawn raid by Mexican Marines is Felix Beltran, and not Chapo's son. Veronica Guerrero, his attorney, stated at a press conference. She claimed that her customer was a trustworthy car dealer. According to the man's wife and a lawyer, Mexican Marines planted weapons, they told the Associated Press. In 2016, a group of CJNG gunmen stormed the La Lick restaurant in the coastal resort city of Puerto Vallarta, abducting 7 Sinaloa Cartel members from Jalisco, Mexico. El Chapo's son was later found to be one of them, though it was not immediately evident which one. Authorities initially suspected it was Ivan Archivaldo Guzmán Salazar because he was also present at the cafe at the time and was thought to be a more valuable asset to the cartel than his brother Alfredo Guzman. It was also anticipated that his abduction would severely affect normal operations. However, it was later publicly disclosed by the Attorney General of the state of Jalisco, where the cafe was located, that investigations based on surveillance footage at the time of the kidnapping had shown that Jesús Alfredo Guzmán Salazar was abducted. At the time of the announcement, it wasn't known if he had been freed or if his captors still held him captive. According to authorities in Jalisco, no bullets were fired at the cafe that night, and none of the women who were with the kidnapped were also abducted. When the authorities said it was the New Generation Cartel with headquarters in Jalisco, the mysteries were finally clarified. Who at that time were competing with the Sinaloa Cartel for control of the Mexican Pacific smuggling routes. An unknown Mexican government official later confirmed the news of their release, claiming that they were in negotiations during the entire period but are now free and well, adding that Alfredo and other kidnapped men had already returned home with fears of brewing war between the Sinaloa Cartel and the other rival cartels. According to reports, Jesús Alfredo moved to Medellin, Colombia after his release from CJNG. The heir of El Chapo had decided to start a cocaine manufacturing business in a semi-rural area of Envigado. First, he set up a coke processing lab where he had 20 people working. He was managing a lot of money that he invested with a group of entrepreneurs. There were well-known companies that were under investigation. The faction of La Oficina that protected him and that he contacted local businessmen received a share of all his business in the city, both money laundering and production and export of cocaine. He came to have 2 cocaine laboratories in which he produced about 100 kilos of cocaine per week. Each month I took a truck loaded with 400 kilos that were sent by land to Buenaventura, the main port of the Colombian Pacific, from where they went by sea to Mexico, an informant said. At the end of 2017, when Colombian security agencies, the DEA, and the FBI believed they had signs to presume that El Chapo's son was in Medellin and was carrying out illegal activities, he disappeared, which ruined the investigation that was developed and in which the U.S. agencies participated. Jesús Guzmán Salazar sponsored a football team in a neighborhood near the semi-rural neighborhood where their laboratories were to process cocaine hydrochloride. When he returned, some said as he would watch his team matches accompanied by his friends and very nice women. Intelligence agents of the National Police investigate if Guzmán Salazar was alerted by any authority through the group of La Oficina that protected him more directly. In any case, the DEA page lists El Chapo's 35-year-old son with other drug trafficking figures including Nemesio El Mencho Oscara of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel and Ismael Almeo Zambada of the Sinaloa Cartel. The son of El Chapo was charged with conspiracy to possess, with the purpose to distribute, controlled narcotics, according to the report created by the DEA. The DEA has had Alfredo on its wanted list since 2018. The DEA initially listed it on its list of the top 10 wanted criminals. The U.S. Department of State is offering a reward of up to $5 million for information that results in Jesús Alfredo Guzmán capture Salazar's or conviction. His fall is nearer, and we hope that we will create a video on his arrest sooner than later, as we all know criminals can't escape for whole life. And his father El Chapo is a prime example of it.